When you look around at the state of the Philadelphia sports coaches, the head coaches, the top guys, the managers, how does anybody still question or doubt Nick Sirianni? Like, I think it's a real serious question. Like, why? What does he got to do? When you're looking at the other ones, God. We're also going to talk about Cam Jurgens going under the knife, the NHL. We got lots on the agenda. Sixers, big loss last night against Boston. Trend in the AM. We're live taking your thoughts and opinions on everything. Live in 30 seconds.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 woo!
And a very good morning, everybody, and welcome to Trending in the AM, right here on the STT Sports Network. Please, wherever you're watching, do me that favor, smash that like button, smash that subscribe button. It is free to hit those buttons and share it out and help as many people as possible find this great channel that I'm trying to build. The race to 500 and 1,000 subscribers is on. Who will be number 1,000? We'll find out. It might take me a decade to get there at this rate, but whatever. We're here having fun every morning talking all things Philly sports. It's free. Smash like, smash subscribe. If you're watching on Twitter, thank you. You can comment there, but I'd greatly appreciate you finding the STT Sports Network YouTube page as well and hitting subscribe, guys. That's what we do here. So, I'm your host, Phil Stiefel, as always. Here you can find me on all social media platforms at Beard and Knowledge. And, you know, it's a Friday. And I'm like, what are we going to talk about today? And I was going through my notes of the week that I take as I'm perusing Twitter, as I'm getting ideas, as this and that's going on. And I remembered a couple days ago, someone over on WWWIP based their show around doubt that people still have in Nick Sirianni. And then I watch the Sixers coming out of the All-Star break. Then I think about John Tortorella. I think about the Phillies about to embark on another campaign. And I look at the coaches and the managers, the people that lead those three teams. And I wonder, why in the world would anybody still have any form of doubt in Nick Sirianni? It's comical, in my opinion. It's crazy that Nick Sirianni still has stuff to prove. And I just don't get it. I don't understand it. I'm not sure why. You look at Rob Thomson coming up short 3 years in a row. The guy could do no wrong. Nick Nurse, he's failing, obviously. There's reasons why he's failing. But does he get enough criticism for the failure that the Sixers have become? John Tortorella. I don't ever hear anybody talking about John Tortorella. Hell, I don't even know why the Flyers are failing because no one ever talks about John Tortorella. But yet the one that faces the most backlash on a daily basis is our Super Bowl winning head coach, Nick Sirianni. And it kind of when I saw that post the other day, I was kind of like, what the hell am I reading here? Why does he have anything left to prove? Just kind of one of those eye-opening moments. And I'm just like, what am I doing here? What is going on? Good morning, Anthony. Happy Friday to you as well. Hope you're ready for the weekend. Team effort. We made it to the weekend, guys. You know, that's good. Eagles equal NFL heat culture with more rings. Yeah, but see, the thing is, we still have to hear criticism or doubt on Nick Sirianni, Jalen Hurts, Howie Roseman, all those guys. And it's kind of crazy to me that there's just not, like, if you want to criticize Nick Sirianni, that's fine. But he's a championship-winning coach. You better levy equal, if not more, criticism to the other coaches in Philadelphia. The Eagles are the only team that I have confidence in even winning. That the next title in Philadelphia, confidence-wise, is the Eagles, not the Phillies, not the Sixers, not the Flyers, not the Union. I don't even know who the coach of the Union is anymore. And the Eagles season just ended. And all these other seasons are still going on. And my confidence meter is on the Eagles because of Nick Sirianni, because of the people that are often criticized on this team. And it's crazy to me. Good morning, Adam. Hope you are well. I can't stand the Celtics. All they do is shoot threes. Never drives the basket. Well, that's just a problem with basketball in general. But yet, Sixers still trying to sell us that they're a playoff contending team and then go out after the All-Star break and do that. And then make sure Paul George and Joel Embiid make excuses after the game. Nick Nurse making excuses that we're just slower than everybody else if you watch us. Well, no shit, we're slower than everybody else. Like, seriously. No accountability with the Sixers. None. From their coach to their players. The Eagles, they lose one game. They win a game and not easily. And there's accountability. Huge difference in accountability from the Eagles organization and all the other sports teams in Philadelphia. What's up, Big Al? Good morning. Sup? How you doing? I am not the great one. The great one will be returning to SmackDown tonight. Just so you know. See, I pay attention to things. He don't have to prove anything. He win a Super Bowl and has had a winning season. Look, but see, the thing is, Adam, you see that. I see that. This is not glazing. This is just spitting facts. There's no reason to prove or question Nick Sirianni anymore. But yet there is a large portion of Philadelphia, especially in the media, that still think he has something to prove. And I get it all the time. This came up when we were talking about the greatest quarterback in Eagles history. Is it Jalen Hurts? And everyone told me, wait, he's got to win one more Super Bowl before he's better than Donovan McNabb or Randall Cunningham. Those guys didn't win jack. But yet, Jalen Hurts, who has won stuff, still has something to prove. Nick Sirianni, the only Eagles coach in the history of this franchise to get to 2 Super Bowls and win one. The only one. Yet he still has something to prove to be considered better than Andy Reid or Nick Sirianni. And I think it's a laugh. I think it's laughable. I really, truly think it's laughable. Because anyone that's worked at a successful company knows it's usually a collective effort, and it can all change at the drop of a hat. They correlate it to the CEO figurehead. Oh, I get that. But see, the thing is, all I want to see, Nooms, is the people that are still criticizing Nick Sirianni or questioning him or saying he still has something to prove are the same people that think Rob Thomson is the greatest manager since sliced bread, that he's this amazing genius. When Rob Thomson hasn't won a thing. When you look at Nick Nurse, well, it's not his fault. I've heard people say it's not Nick Nurse's fault. He's got players that are underachieving or injured or a bad roster. In other Philadelphia sports, it's never the manager's fault. When it's the Eagles, even winning a Super Bowl is not enough. And that's where my mindset is right now. It's not necessarily about Nick Sirianni. It's about Nick Sirianni versus the other 3. And to me, that's an issue. Bradley, I couldn't even have told you that. I thought Jim Curtin. I know they fired Jim Curtin. That's the only coach in Union history I can name. Is it Curtin or Curtan or whatever? I don't even know how to, it for sure. We have to accept that we will always be criticized. We will always be criticized. But the thing is, we are the ones still criticizing Nick Sirianni, mainly because it fits narratives. People were so used to the Eagles not being winners. Now they don't know what to do with themselves. And I get that from the national media, Big Al. But this is coming from a WWWIP show. And there's people responding to it from Philadelphia, agreeing that he still has more to do. The wording was, what does he need to do for you to be sold on him more? When WIP is the one, and the fans at WIP, who are Philadelphians, still need to be sold on Nick Sirianni, on Howie Roseman, on Jalen Hurts. It's laughable, in my opinion. I know Sirianni was the man since the flower analogy. It went over most people's heads, but we were seeing eye to eye. The flower thing, I think, is even, how do I say this? Like, I know his record overall is great. His record since the flower speeches, even better. People still bring up over 4 years ago, his initial press conference. Like, give the guy a break. The guy's the winningest coach in football right now over the last 4 years. Outside of the Chiefs, what team has had the success that the Eagles have had over the last 4 years? And team success. If you want to tell me that wins are not a quarterback stat. Well, wins are, without a shadow of a doubt, a coaching stat. And Nick Sirianni's got the wins. There should be zero doubt going forward. Even if the Eagles come out and go 9-8 next year and miss the playoffs, there still should be zero doubt and zero lack of confidence in Nick Sirianni. When, again, Rob Thomson could go out there and come up short every year, but everybody loves good old Uncle Rob, Topper, Like, what's he got to do to get criticized in this city? McNabb has the numbers, but no Super Bowl wins. Look, I don't care about the argument that McNabb's greater than Hurts, and Hurts has got to win another Super Bowl before he could be on McNabb's level. And that actually was words right out of Mark Moscatelli's mouth on this show. Hurts has to win a second Super Bowl before he's put ahead of Donovan McNabb, because McNabb had 10 years. Hurts has only had 4.5. That is laughable, in my opinion. Sirianni was a poor coach. The team would have collapsed last year like we did in 15. Hell, even when the Eagles have collapsed last year, they still made the playoffs. They just ran into the juggernaut Tampa Bay Bucks. The only kryptonite to the Sirianni and the Eagles is the Tampa Bay Bucks, honestly, at this point. It's not my fault that your phone or your computer doesn't send you a notification, but good morning to you. It's always my fault when you don't get the notification, right? It's the mid chatter. Yeah, exactly. The middle KY. What? If there was more transparency about what Nick Sirianni's strengths were, very bad. He is good at assimilating input and keeping ears open. I think there's some transparency on what he does and doesn't do. I mean, we know he doesn't do the play calling very well, but we know he's a great leader of men. He delegates well. He keeps his ear to the ground, like you say, and hears on all sides of things what's going on. He has a pulse of his locker room. He has a pulse of the fan base. He has a pulse of the NFL and where the trends are going. I think the transparency is there now. It wasn't maybe in the beginning, but 2 Super Bowl appearances and a Super Bowl championship in the last 3 years, 4 years in the NFL as a coach, 4 playoff runs. I think the book's closed. There is no room. Nick Sirianni is up for a contract extension. I mean, coaches are always up for them if they want them, but going into the last year of his deal, I would be, he's going to get an extension, probably a 2 or 3 year extension. That just seems like what Howie Roseman and Jeffrey Lurie would do. But if they wanted to give him a 5, 6, 7 year extension and make him the highest paid coach in the NFL, I would not bat an eye, because he has done enough in the last 3 to 4 years to prove to me that I have the confidence of him leading this franchise forward for the next decade. There's going to be down times. There's going to be down years. That's just the cycle of the NFL. You're going to have injuries. You're going to have things happen. But I would have no problem of him, if the cycle goes backwards for a few years, I would have confidence in him bringing us out of it, because he's proven the ability to do that, to overcome adversity. Yet all these other coaches in Philadelphia have proven jack shit, and they don't face 10% of the criticism that Nick Sirianni does. Eagles broke up 2 teams trying to win 3 Super Bowls in a row. The Patriots and the Chiefs. That's right. Sirianni is good at defending the locker room and listening to all the voices. Just steer the ship and that's fine. I think what you're saying there, while it's right, is used against him far too much, because he doesn't call them. You look at all the playoff teams. Look at the team we play in the Super Bowl. Andy Reid does the same exact thing. Washington, Dan Quinn don't call the plays on offense. Who else? Dan Campbell, Detroit, don't call the plays. Out of all, I forget the exact stat. Out of all the playoff teams, I think only 3 or 4 of them was the head coach, the offensive play caller, which nowadays there's a negative connotation if you're the head coach and you don't call plays. Well, Sirianni has proved, Andy Reid's proved, a couple coaches have proved, you don't have to be the play caller to be successful. This whole line, while accurate, is also what's held against him, big picture. And I think that's wrong. We are also getting to a point where one isn't enough anymore. That's the problem with winning. So because he's won one, but not a second, we can still criticize him? I know one's not enough. We've always won at multiple championships. We've got the opportunity to. We should have the faith that he's going to lead us there. Al, that's what I'm getting at. Good morning, Little G. Big fan of the Eagles. Big fan of you. Now, if there was a less talent on this team, do we think he would be able to get blood from a stone and win via X's and O's? Who knows? I would have the confidence to stick with him, Nooms, that he would, those lesser talents, he would groom them or at least hold them above water till the next year when more talent comes along. One bad season, just hypothetically speaking, Nooms, we go 8-9. I said 9-8. We'll say we go 8-9 next year, miss the playoffs. I'm not going to be calling for his head. Mark my words. Bookmark this. Clip this out. If we go and miss the playoffs next year, I guarantee you I will not be calling for Nick Sirianni's head. I won't. I'll be saying he's earned the right to have a down year. Rob Thomson gets that right without winning. Nick Nurse, people are already making excuses why Nick Nurse should stay in Philadelphia. Not many, but some. Paul George. Joel Embiid's barely played. Fun fact, John Harbaugh hasn't even appeared in a Super Bowl in 13 years. Yeah, what's Mike Tomlin's number, right? Those guys, they don't call plays. You know, certain franchises and their fan bases love to keep the coaches around for that stability. There's going to be millions of Eagles fans if we were to say, we're not going to miss the playoffs next year. It would be a disaster if they did. But if we missed the playoffs, there'd be a million people calling for his job. And you know what would happen? He would get fired and he'd get hired like that. I think we've gotten to that level with him. Sirianni's greatest strength is connecting with players. Yeah, absolutely. And the fact that the players respect him so well for that. Everyone here, hit that like button, subscribe. Let's go. Thank you, Adam. Yes, like, subscribe. I know the algorithm's been a little low this week. I think everybody's in a downward spot, you know, coming out of the NBA All-Star break, the NHL All-Star break, or union tournament, or whatever it's called, or football's over, we're past the parade. We're in that downward spot. So we need you guys even more to hit that like button, hit that subscribe and share button. That's what we need. 4:32 to start the show today. Nick Sirianni stepped to the grizzly bear Jalen Carter on the sidelines. He's nuts. That's good. He's not afraid to do that. And I think he earns respect by being willing to do that. Also, it's laughable that people still rank so low as an all-time Eagles coach. Going by the stats, he should be number one. But we still argue the facts with our opinions. Absolutely. We're talking facts. Just the facts, man. You know, Nick Sirianni and Jalen Hurts have brought more success in the last 3-4 years to this city with the Philadelphia Eagles than any duo, coach and quarterback, in Eagles history. Hell, I'd put them up there with the success the 08 Phillies team brought to the city for 4 years. I'd put this success rate up there with any 3 to 4 year era in Philly sports. And it's laughable that some of us have to defend them still, and people still question them. 432 subs isn't enough either. Ring that bell. Let's go. Ring that bell. Come on. We need to see those numbers go up, not stay level right now. I'm looking forward to Phil 500 keg party. You want me to do a keg party? What? I'm not 12 anymore. Twice Nick has shown that he can adapt and change things in season. Not many coaches could do that. Yes, he's very adaptable. Absolutely. Another great quality of his that goes underappreciated. Phil has shown that he can adapt and change. I make the eye contact, K1. Now all of a sudden the algo is slipping, just so you know. Giving you the eye contact helps you, but doesn't grow the channel for some reason. It's been a slow week on growth. Just saying. Andy Reid is allegedly the GOAT head coach, but would the GOAT have not run the ball when Fangio was inviting him to? They did in 2022. Yeah, I mean, Andy Reid's not the GOAT head coach. Andy Reid is a top 5-6 head coach in NFL history, though, at this point. Nick Sirianni has the Mamba mentality. He was at the NovaCare Center, 5 a.m. this morning watching film. Probably. I like that. The Mamba mentality. I think he's got that a little bit. Jalen Hurts definitely has the Mamba mentality. There's a lot of Mamba mentality on this Eagles team. Sirianni is a joke. Who would it not succeed? What? I don't even what. They can move the Sixers to Jersey or Russia for all I care at this point. The Sixers ruined basketball for me. I need NCAA. Still can't get into NCAA basketball. I get that. For me. But I mean, the Sixers are out there trying to sell us that they still got a chance. And they go out there and just get dust. It's just I can't watch it. I turned it on for 5 minutes last night just to see what was going on. I watched about 45 minutes to an hour of The Fugitive instead, which I've seen 1,000 times. Great freaking movie, The Fugitive. Casey had one rush in the first quarter of that Super Bowl. Yeah. What would we have done if that was Saquon Barkley's situation? Man Chatter doing work today. Yeah, he's doing something all right. Am I the only one excited that baseball starts? I'm excited. I'm more excited for Sunday because Sunday will be on TV, Big Al. And I will have the Phillies game on at the pizza shop on Sunday. No doubt about it. I'm excited. But the point of this conversation is we have to still defend and hear doubts on Nick Sirianni. But we're going into a baseball season with people like Rick saying, we're going all the way. We're winning the World Series. This Phillies team is unstoppable. What has Rob Thomson done to garner so much respect that Nick Sirianni can't get when Nick Sirianni's the one with a trophy? It's just, this is the beef I've got right now. Nick, good at key things. Yeah, he's good at a lot of things. Should Sirianni and Jalen get a statue outside the stadium? Absolutely. Give them both a statue. Definitely Jalen Hurts, for sure. Josh Harris is completely sodomizing the fan base's bank accounts and free time. It's ridiculous. He doesn't take my free time. Not at all. What's up? Yeah, Big Al, yeah. Good morning, Mitchie Poo. How you doing? Hope you're well. As always, my man. If you're still questioning Nick's head, what's up, Dave G? Before I even read your question, good morning, Dave G. Hope you are well. If you're still questioning Nick's head coaching ability, you're a bozo and you need to go root for the Cowboys. Still, see, I saw it yesterday. Cowboys fan holding up all their rings and their banners. Like, guys, you haven't won a title in 30 years. I hate that so much, Dave. But see, the thing is, this is not as uncommon as you think, Dave. People still say that the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, Nick Sirianni, need to win another one. When there's only been 2 Super Bowls in the history of this team, this group needs to win another one before they're validated. That's kind of insane. Sixers have 0 foot speed with Bean and Yabu out there. This team was at its best when Paul George and Joe were out. Yeah, that's why I kind of don't want them to shut Embiid and Paul George down. Let them keep losing with those 2 guys out. Nick Nurse said yesterday that we're just slower than everybody else. The excuse is coming out of South Philly and the Sixers right now. They're just not fast enough. Joel Embiid says he's not as dominant as he was earlier in the season for many reasons. Paul George is saying, yeah, you guys hear the rumors. I'm getting shots because my left finger, pinky finger, is sore. The amount of excuses that we hear about the Sixers, and we still have Sixers fans that say this team is going to make a run because the organization tells them they are. Just like Fugitive caused the sheriff guy yells, I don't care. Exactly, when some of you put some of those random comments up there, TMZ, I don't care. The Fugitive is a great movie. I didn't kill my wife. That was the scene. I turned it on last night, right at this scene. When he's going through the sewers that lead out into the you know what I'm talking about. Why can't I think of the word of the dam? And when he does that head dive off that dam, that is one of the most intense scenes. When you watch that scene for the first time ever, I wish I could go back and watch it for the first time ever again, because I still be like, damn, that takes guts to just head dive right off that dam. That's guts. That's desperation. Harrison Ford, Tommy Lee Jones, phenomenal movie. The players like him, and getting them to give effort is the key. That is. But I still want to see the fan base give him the respect they deserve. Tommy Lee Jones was great in that movie. Even the second one, the follow-up with what's his name? Why can't I think of it? I'm drawing blanks on names. The U.S. Marshals, it was called, the follow-up years later. They're good movies. But The Fugitive, the first one, it's an elite movie, for sure. One of the rare times that a movie was made based off of a TV show and actually done right and done well. And maybe the TV show or movie better than the TV show. But Nick is still a silly, clueless coach. According to people out there, he is like one-armed fan. Is he? Yeah. If I see Dave at keg party, he will. What? I don't know what you're talking about. Don't use words around me that I don't understand. Ironically, that word was hinky. You don't understand hinky? Phil could have coached that roster to a ring, son. What roster? No. How about bullshit, Sam? What are we talking about here? Josh Harris is a clown. Skip Payless segment. Yeah. I mean, we all know Josh Harris is a clown. Josh Harris doesn't realize it, but we all know it. Hell, I bet you Nick Nurse and Daryl Morey know that Josh Harris is a clown. But they get paid by him, so they're not going to say it. I'm telling you, when Nick Nurse gets fired, and he's going to get fired, well, I hope he does, I want to get an unedited interview with him where he's just free to talk about whatever he wants and see what he has to say about Josh Harris and the Sixers. Tunnel Phil, what? Could you say if you're not watching the Sixers or Flyers when they're playing bad that we are not real fans? No. Because real fans have given them time. And I say I don't watch them. I still tune into them occasionally, 5 minutes here or there. But I've given them the effort. They've just let us down so much. We still talk about them. We still pay attention to them. We still know what's going on with the Sixers. So it's not like you can't. They still know they're a game and a half out of the 10 spot. So we're still real fans. We complain about them. We bitch. We boycott them because of our passion. This is not like the early process years where we knew they were going to stink. We are still being told that the Sixers team is going to not just make a run to make the playoffs, but a run in the playoffs. So stopping watching them now when we see how blatantly they're lying to us is not being a fan. It's boycotting and calling out their bullshit. I'm telling you, Phil, Gummy takes your memory. Is that what it is? Maybe. I watched Conclave. It's okay. Well, I think you're crazy if you think that. Who's faster, Embiid or Jokic? I don't know. I might be able to beat Joel Embiid down the court myself. And I can't run at all. I still give you guys rants. I just don't have a cool graphic to put up on the screen. Never redid the graphic. You guys always, most people always hope for the next thing. You guys miss the old things instead of enjoying the new things. We need a good rant to end the week. I don't have anything to rant about, really. Honestly, this whole show's been a rant about the lack of respect the Eagles coach gets and the too much respect other coaches in the city get. This whole show has been a rant. So I'm not sure what else you want me to rant about. LeBron, 0 to 22 game winning shots. I don't know. Phil, rant of the week. Yeah, you. I'm going to rant on you. The Rock will be on SmackDown tonight, and I still probably won't watch it. But yeah, great. He's just coming to take away his main event spot of WrestleMania from CM Punk. Nick Nurse is now the definition of having his in the wind. Brian Keefe, Billy Donovan, Nick Nurse, Monty Williams, who knows all. Yeah. I like how you say CSIW. I like how you actually have that listed like that. Nick Nurse has got to go. He does. Embiid looked slow, and Paul George looks bored and not interested. Paul George is not interested. Could you imagine Joel Embiid and Paul George performing and putting out the effort they do and did last night and do in general on the Eagles with Jalen Hurts and Nick Sirianni in that locker room? Could you imagine what Nick Sirianni would say to those two guys? Can you imagine what Jalen Hurts would do to those two guys if that was the effort that they put out with the Eagles? Oh, my God. They'd get destroyed in that locker room. They would probably – Nick Nurse would never do it. Nick Sirianni would probably have the balls to bench those guys. Make a statement. Hell, Jalen Carter was late for one meeting this year. And Jalen Carter got benched to start a game. No fear in benching the best defensive player in the league. That's the thing. Accountability. And be able to hold your players accountable makes you a great coach. Nick Sirianni holds his players accountable. Nick Nurse? No. Rob Thomson? John Tortorella? Not really. He'll say he will in the media, but he doesn't really. The Rock is overrated, especially if The Rock's been overrated for a very long time. I've gained hella respect for Hurts. So that's something. Yeah, good for you. It's better than Josh Allen. So what Phil is saying is we are asking for lightning in a bottle. That's Phil's rant. Look, you want a quick, short rant. Random. I'm giving you a 30-minute rant here, basically. Nick Sirianni would whip these Sixers into shape. I don't know. But I would give him a chance. Like we always joke that we want Howie Roseman to run the Sixers. Shit. Nick Sirianni don't know how to coach a basketball team, but I'd have more confidence in him getting more out of the players than Nick Nurse at this point. Nick Nurse is waiting to be fired. They would get trashed in any locker room. Absolutely. Paul George is the NBA's... No. Bobby Abreu was... I understand why people hated Bobby Abreu. Paul George is much worse than Bobby Abreu. Bobby Abreu at least put up numbers, put up stats. Bobby Abreu is a top-tier player. Paul George ain't no top-tier player anymore. So let's just leave that at that. Don't disrespect Bobby Abreu by comparing him to Paul George. As the Pump Man apologized. Pump Man did make one appearance earlier this week. He didn't say I'm sorry, but he's apologized on other channels, so I've heard. Rock is okay. Catherine Zeta-Jones could get it. That's a random name you're throwing out there, Catherine Zeta-Jones. Joan B has the backing of Josh Harris. No one can tell him to get his shit together. That's an interesting way to put it. Absolutely. I mean, it's Josh Harris's, at this point, biggest investment outside of buying teams. So I actually kind of like that comment there. I love holding the Sixers fans accountable. Yeah. He did. Not on this show, but on a lot of other shows he has. Sirianni could play. Sirianni probably could play on the Sixers, probably. I see this comment right here. Never understood the Bobby Abreu hate. Well, I was a huge Abreu defender. Still am. I say he's not a Hall of Fame player, but he's a lot closer to being a Hall of Fame player based off of the standards than people realize. The hate for Bobby Abreu was because he wasn't a Philly kind of guy. He didn't have that Bryce Harper, Jalen Hurts type of attitudes. He wouldn't run through a brick wall. Like, you got to remember, like, towards the end of Bobby Abreu's time here, you had Aaron Rowan breaking his nose, colliding into the wall in the outfield. Bloody dripping nose, but holding onto the ball. Bobby Abreu wouldn't even have gone for that. He would have backed off and played it off one hop. All right, so Bobby Abreu didn't go the extra mile like a Philadelphia person would. Like, he wasn't that blue-collar, hard-nosed guy. Statistically speaking, there was a 3-4 year stretch in Philly, and then he did it again with the Yankees after we traded him to the Yankees. About a 5 or 6 year stretch, stat for stat, and I don't remember all of them. Home runs, walks, doubles, RBIs, batting average, on-base percentage, all those main key offensive stats. There were two people in the same stratosphere, Barry Bonds and Bobby Abreu. Go look it up. His numbers are not that far off from Barry Bonds' run there. That's how special Bobby Abreu was. And he also had a cannon of an arm. So he always led the league in assists or was close to leading the league in assists. Statistically speaking, Bobby Abreu was a great player. The problem was he wouldn't run through a wall for you. He wouldn't jump in front of a moving car to save a baby. So he was more like, not Paul George, he was more like Ricky Waters. The great Bobby Abreu comparison would be Ricky Waters. For who, for what? That would fit Bobby Abreu, why people don't like him. The wall allergy is why people couldn't say it. Exactly. He just wasn't going to. For who, for what? That's all it is. For who, for what? Rock had 007 dude too. What? It has nothing to do with 007 Rock. Oh, good morning, Eric. How are you? Next year, I'm doing the Roots speech would have Embiid ready to play back-to-backs on one leg, and the close your eyes and picture you best moment would transform Pinky P. What is up, Eric? How are you? Hope you're well. Yeah, Nick Sirianni would do something. I always look back to the Sixers have had a lack of accountability for a long time, from Brett Brown to Doc Rivers. Now where we're at now. Oh, Duck's here now. Duck's not going to like this conversation. Duck is not going to like today's conversation. It was energy that followed Bobby Abreu. The moment he was traded, the Phillies showed a pulse in 06. Yeah, absolutely. And I get why there's hate. I do. And I get that him leaving this city actually was part of turning the corner of this city's baseball franchise. Absolutely. But it doesn't, but Eagles or Phillies fans take away, because of their dislike of him, the person, take away the fact that he was a damn fine baseball player. Absolutely a damn fine. Like I said, if you need to score 100 on a test to make the Hall of Fame, he got a 97. He's that close, statistically speaking. What is up, Duck? We are propping up Nick Sirianni today on why people still doubt him, that he still has something to prove, why he still has to sell people on him being a good head coach, when other coaches in this city get a tenth of the criticism that Nick Sirianni does. That's where we're at today on the conversation. Everybody, make sure you've hit that like button so far. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. And if you've already done that, click share and share it on one of your social media platforms. Please start the show at 432 subscribers. Would love to see 433 today. I met Aaron Rowan after he broke his nose. The dude, Aaron Rowan, you take Aaron Rowan's personality and mix it with Bobby Abreu's skill set, you got a hell of a baseball player in Philadelphia. Was also the Phillies' first big contract in the modern era. Didn't live up to it. And do you remember who we traded Bobby Abreu for without Googling it? I do. Who we gave up to get Bobby Abreu in this city? I do, because he was one of my favorite players growing up. But Bobby Abreu, yeah. I won back-to-back fantasy baseball leagues because I took Bobby Abreu in the first round. Sean Connery was in Rock. Okay. Gotcha. Great. So what's that have to do with the Rock? Good morning. Yep. What's up? Duck, everybody's in the house now. All the cores here. Bobby Abreu or Gus, the bench warmers. I'll take Bobby Abreu. Did Abreu have more hate than Scott Rowland? That's an interesting question, actually. Who got more hate in this city? Bobby Abreu never said he didn't want to play here. Scott Rowland said he didn't want to be here. Scott Rowland almost borderline pushed himself out of this city on his own. Oh, man. I think now looking back on it, Bobby Abreu gets more hate. But in the moment, I think Scott Rowland might have gotten more hate. Scott Rowland was supposed to be the next great hope to the Phillies organization. For sure. Hey, yo. What about Chase Utley? He didn't get hate. Some people tried to make Phil break a 50 for his ink. What? The best detracting stat for Bobby Abreu is the margin of the score for most of his compiled numbers and the clutch factor. Ironically, Freddie Galvis had a good clutch factor. Freddie, we know this show is completely, we're talking Philadelphia sports here, but you know this show is crazy when you're getting a Freddie Galvis reference in a comment on the show. And that's what I love. I cheated. You cheated? Okay, gotcha. Roland by far, yes. Roland, in the moment, I think Roland got more hate, but I think right now, looking back, because Roland just got into the Hall of Fame a few years ago, that right now, Bobby Abreu, I think Phillies fans now look back on Scott Rowland a little differently because they saw what he became. Good morning, Steven Fuentes. It's always Steven. It's like when Steve Urkel became Stefan Urkel. Steve Fuentes becomes Stefan Fuentes. Wait, how did we end up I don't know. Well, I brought baseball into the conversation comparing the lack of criticism that Rob Thomson gets compared to still the criticism that Nick Sirianni gets. When Nick Sirianni has gotten the team the title, Rob Thomson hasn't. Like you can compare Nick Sirianni to all four coaches in this city, but really it's about Rob Thomson and Nick Sirianni because the other two are just completely clueless. Try to charge you. Oh, yeah, Lenny Dykstra tried to charge me for an autograph when I was like 13 years old on a napkin at a restaurant. So, yeah, that's right. You say random shit, but I don't know what you're talking about. But you remember it's like you take notes on what I say. All Abreu ever said was he wanted to be a Philly and break team records, which is nice. But what about the main goal? Yeah, he wanted the stats and he wanted the money. He cared about those. And Bobby Abreu was very similar to Paul George in the sense that Paul George said what was important to him was not championships. It was finding the right situation for him. Another one of the big red flags on why the Sixers should have never paid Paul George. He didn't actually care about winning a title. We glazed Nick enough? No, we're going to continue to glaze Nick. Some people still hate Roland to this day. I think it is a poll in the making. All right, I'm going to write it down. I'll put it on Twitter after the show. Hate. I'm just writing this down. Hate. More. Roland or Abreu? We'll post it on Twitter after the show. We'll see. I can't see it getting 5,000 votes or anything, but I bet you I can get it up to about 100, 150 votes. We'll see. We'll get a good sample size. It wasn't really just Abreu. It was the collective whatever energy that came from Liebe, Mike Lieberthal, Bobby Abreu, Randy Wolf, the Wolf Pack, Scott Rowland, and the Padilla Flotilla. Man, that was a time, Nooms, to be alive in Philly sports. I liked Mike Lieberthal. I've always been a big fan of catchers. And Randy Wolf, dude could hit. And the Padilla Flotilla, yeah, that's a list of names right there. Played the majority of his career in Philly on that Vet Stadium concrete. OGs are the only people allowed to criticize him. I got my Vet concrete turf right there. Probably giving me cancer like he gave all the other players too and people. How come nobody ever talks about Ryan Howard when we talk about Phillies baseball? That's an interesting Phillies question. We always talk about Rollins. We always talk about Utley. But Ryan Howard, man, the big piece. That's a fantastic comment, Adam. And I don't know the answer to it. I almost got to write that down too. It's another post. Why no Ryan Howard love? I like that. Man, a couple fire comments and poll. You guys are fueling my social media for the weekend. For sure. Phil should auction off his notebook of knowledge. I've got every notebook I've ever used right here doing podcasts. We're coming up on the 5-year anniversary of the first recording I ever did. Maybe I'll find a way to download it and share it out. I cannot stand Roland's attitude. See, the thing is, when Roland first got here, Anthony, I had huge hope for him and huge hype for him. I mean, I was a teenager. I grew up idolizing Mike Schmidt. I grew up wanting to be a third baseman because of Mike Schmidt. And then they draft Scott Rowland. I'm like, oh, right, a new third baseman for me to be a super fan of. And then, yes, then I got into it with you too, the attitude. That's easy. Rowland, he could have been a force in the locker room instead of being a fussy pants about the situation, yeah? Because we had the chance to let Howard walk in 11, or at least wait until 11 ended to extend him instead. Look, that extension at the moment was actually a super smart contract. If you really think about it, you look at in that time frame, about a month, 3 or 4 first basemen got massive contracts. Ryan Howard's was the cheapest of them. Fielder. Was it Prince Fielder? No, Prince Fielder was the dad. Fielder with Milwaukee got a bigger contract, and he failed. The big cat, what was his name? Andres Galarraga got a bigger contract. He failed. And there was somebody, and Albert Pujols got a bigger contract, and obviously Albert Pujols became, continued being a Hall of Famer. So Ryan Howard, out of the 4 big contracts, got the cheapest, and I would say he was the second best of them all. Now, it's not, Ruben Amaro Jr. can't predict an Achilles tear trying to run out a ground ball. It's not like he had a degenerative knee like Joel Embiid, and you gave out the contract. Ryan Howard was still a healthy player at that time, putting up MVP numbers. Out of all the contracts he gave out, the Ryan Howard one upsets me the least, despite it not working out. That's just my opinion. Because he's an asshole? because the media hates him, because he said a lot of politically incorrect things. Didn't he have like a tech company like end up going bankrupt because he was stealing from it? Like Curt Schilling, the player, is a Hall of Famer. Curt Schilling, the person, is not. I had a steak dinner with Ryan Howard, a great human being. Seems like a great human being. Dynasty teams know when to pull the plug 90% of the time. Yeah, I get it. Ryan Howard was not the one to pull the plug on at that moment, though. At all. What's my all-time baseball lineup? Like just Phillies or all-time? I would have to think long and hard, Mitchie Poo, about that. I don't want to disrespect. I can tell you all-time and all of baseball, some of my guys, Ken Griffey Jr. would be on my team without any doubt. Mike Schmidt would be on my team without any doubt. Those two, I don't even have to think about. I would have to think. I don't want to, mess up anyway. Prince was the son. Cecil was okay. I always confuse Prince and Cecil. There you go. But Prince Fielder got a bigger contract than Ryan Howard at that time, per year. Guys, we've crossed the 20 concurrent viewers. We're talking Nick Sirianni getting the respect he deserves and why we don't give it to him. We're talking Phillies baseball. We're talking Sixers. We're talking all, but there should be a minimum of 21 likes on this YouTube video. If you're watching on Twitter, head over to the YouTube page and subscribe. We're trying to get this subscriber count up to 500 at least. Start the show at 432, so please like, subscribe, share. Let's go. We'll continue on with the comments here. Ruben Amaro Jr. fails to read the tea leaves on the shift. Ruben Amaro had a video, and I forget what it was. Oh, it was about Bryson Stott on WWWIP. Because there's all this talk that Kyle Schwarber's not going to be leading off this year. It's going to be Trey Turner. And he went out there and said, no, it should be Bryson Stott. And on one side, I've said since day one, Bryson Stott has the ability to be a leadoff hitter. But on this Phillies team that's trying to win a World Series, Bryson Stott coming off a 600 OPS last year, 660, 670. You're not putting him in the leadoff spot when you've got Trey Turner who's been fairly successful in the role the last couple of years. Bryson Stott, that just shows how disconnected Ruben Amaro is. How many assholes are in the Hall of Fame? Probably a lot. Babe Ruth was an asshole. Let's be honest. Babe Ruth was an asshole. Plain and simple. 38 games or whatever. Was the game they published. It got panned. What? I'm lost on that one. Remember the driving range in Kennett was owned by? It was. It used to be called the Curt Schilling range. Yeah. It's still a dump that range. Did you say? Yeah. That. I cue up Mitchie Poo with lines purposely, and when I set up the perfect comments for Mitchie Poo is when he's not here to answer them. Yeah. I wasn't calling you. I made a wording. I said a word. I said long and hard, and I was hoping Mitchie Poo heard it. That's all. We're not talking about Embiid's horrendous defense. Well, we're criticizing the fact that Nick Nurse doesn't get enough criticism for the lack of accountability he holds these Sixers to. The fact that the Sixers are still trying to sell us a bill of goods. Joe Embiid out there making excuses last night. Well, I'm not as dominant as I used to be. We're criticizing a lot of people on this Friday. Ryan Howard's Achilles was falling apart all year. They kept calling it bursitis, but when you constantly back leg it, that stuff is going to happen. I am not a doctor. I did not stay at a Holiday Inn, so I'm not really sure. Ty Cobb is the biggest asshole. Ty Cobb, was he the player that murdered his dad or something like that? One of the Hall of Famers murdered their dad. But I'm sure a lot of people back in the day were assholes like that. So you can see the Hall of Fame is replete with assholes, but Schilling is unqualified. Oh, I didn't say Schilling's unqualified. You asked why. I answered your question of why he's not. And that's the problem with sports Hall of Fames. All of them. The players, the coaches don't vote on the Hall of Fame. The Hall of Famers don't vote on the Hall of Fame. Media vote on Hall of Fame. What qualifications do the media have other than that they have beefs? So if you have a beef with a player, you don't get into the Hall of Fame. That's what I said. I never said he was unqualified. In fact, I said he was qualified. 38 games was his game studio. Was the game of note that he published. Okay, gotcha. That went right over my head. I thought I missed something. It's been so long since I've even heard that. I don't even know. List of players not in Hall of Fame because of their mouths. Kurt Schilling, Brian Mitchell. Brian Mitchell Hall of Famer? I don't know about that. Conspiracy theory. PFF is run by Eagles haters and ranked Zach Ball 11, Jalen Carter 77. Look, PFF, I've said it since day one, Deebs, is bogus. They create their analytical formula to meet the narrative they want. And every year they change said formula to meet the narrative they want. PFF should be ignored, plain and simple. It's no different than a Cowboys fan trolling, holding up their 5 Super Bowl rings from 1947. PFF is a joke. PFF is, it's no different than a Dov Kleiman guy or MLF football. People think they're like real insiders. They're not. They're fake accounts. PFF is fake, and people pay to use their information. So the Hall of Fame, I think all Hall of Fames, to an extent, are bullshit, K1. I do. I truly, truly do. And I've never wavered in saying that. Just like I think that Barry Bonds, Roger Clemens should be in the Hall of Fame because it's contradictory to their mission statement that they're not. Hall of Fame discussions are probably the most pointless discussions to get heated over. Absolutely. Because it's just a baseless, organization. Terry Jones' shell company. It might be. It might be like a shell company for a Bond villain. All right, I got 2 other topics I want to bring in to the conversation today. One Eagles, one movie-wise. I don't know if you guys saw. I don't know if you guys know. I'm a huge James Bond guy. Love James Bond. Always have been a James Bond guy. Bonded over James Bond with my dad when I was a kid. Love James Bond. Amazon bought James Bond. The rights to James Bond. Amazon is going to produce the next run of Bond's movies or whatever they're going to do. They're probably going to start a Bond multiverse, probably. And I have very mixed reactions on that. So that's something I want to talk about. Nextly, because we got about 35 minutes left in the show today. We haven't brought it up. Cam Jurgens went under the knife this week to have back surgery to relieve nerve pain that he was feeling that was holding back. First and foremost, Cam Jurgens, one tough SOB playing with that back pain, knowing the surgery that he had nerve issues in his back. One tough SOB. But another Eagles player coming up on a contract year. I still think they give him an extension this offseason. But does Cam Jurgens now officially having back surgery make Mekhi Becton even more important to retain? Because you're going to need to slide Steen over to left guard when Dickerson has to play center because Becton has another back issue. That's why I've been talking about for so long that Becton is so important, because you need to have 6 quality starting offensive linemen to build a winning football team in the NFL. Becton is a priority because of the Cam Jurgens surgery. Bun is lucky he was surrounded by talent. You're lucky I let you talk in my comments on this show. Was good at the time, really good art direction, a cool magic system. Yeah, I have no idea. I never played it. Howard Eskin is the biggest asshole of them all, and he probably won't make the Hall of Fame for broadcasting. I think he's an interesting character. How did Babe Ruth become an alcoholic during Prohibition? That's a good question. It's a good question. He had he knew a guy. That's how. You a Bezos fan? It has nothing to do with Bezos. Get watered down might be a good thing. I think there's some good to it. I look at what they've been able to do and revive the Jack Reacher or the Jack Ryan franchises that were flailing after some bad movies. And I think that maybe Amazon could do something good, as long as they don't go into like some universe thing where they do a Moneypenny show or a Jinx show or whatever. Just stick to James Bond movies. Keep the formula the same. It's something that's intriguing to me. Bond versus Bourne, Spy versus Spy. I'm all for that. We could probably do like a 5-hour movie or 5-hour podcast just discussing this topic, Deebs. I will always take James Bond over Jason Bourne because of the personal connection I have to the franchise. Just because it's just been something since the first one I saw in the late 80s. My dad had me sit down and watch From Russia with Love with him. Not the best movie that they ever did, but because it's the first one I ever saw, it always holds a special place. And, just the different eras, and I kind of say you can't rank them because every Bond movie or actor portrays the character differently, and they all have their characteristics in a good and bad way. No, there was some kind of nerve impingement, I think. I thought maybe there was a disc. There were two discs pressing on a nerve, whatever that is. I forget the term, but it was two discs pressing on a nerve, and they had to move it and alleviate that pressure. They claim he'll be fine by training camp. Still, back issues to me with any athlete, especially important athletes in important positions like center, scares me. Scares me big time. Back issues always linger. Breaks down players very minute. A lot of players are lucky. Becton is important. The Eagles most definitely add O-line depth in the draft. Well, they're going to probably add a Lane Johnson replacement in the draft. But I think Becton is a much bigger priority than people realize. I swear Collinsworth and Flota both underrate Eagles players because they know Eagles fans will get fired up. I think there is something to that. I do think there is something to that. I have to admit, Bond was great. He was phenomenal. 007, and I'm a huge Jack Bauer fan, but 007 without a doubt. I like when 007 parachutes down to a wedding and fight a shark. That was funny. Yes, that was a cheesy era there. Would you want a Bond series? I was actually thinking about that this morning, watching how they put together the Reacher and Ryan series, a short 6-episode, series on James Bond. So instead of getting a 2.5-hour movie, we get 6-hour-long episodes. So like a 6-hour story. As long as it's still James Bond and they don't venture off too far from the path. Yeah, I can get behind that, Big Al. I know that's not going to be a popular opinion. Just like they just started filming a Jack Ryan movie with John Krasinski or whatever his name is. Give me a 2 or 3 seasons of James Bond series and then bring the movies back. I'm all for it, actually. All for it. Divock is a better GM than Maury. Everybody is. Goldfinger was best Bond. Second best Bond. Casino Royale, in my opinion, with Daniel Craig was the best Bond movie. But Goldfinger is a close second. Protruding discs, yeah, I know the feeling. Yeah, there was a fancy term put on it, but basically 2 discs pressing on a nerve. Casino Royale is by far the best one. I agree with you 100%. I love a modern origin series on James Bond with new, fresh takes on the main villains. Yes, I agree. Term is called, I think I did see that term there, right there. Look at that, bringing in the medical terminology. I'll have to look it up. Hopefully it's I heard somebody else talk about that as well, but it wasn't like a reporter or anything. Becton more than likely will be Lane Johnson's replacement eventually. I can see that, and that's, again, a reason to keep Becton. Sports media is just about BS takes now. Absolutely. It is. Reacher is amazing. I love Reacher. I haven't started. I think yesterday, the first 3 episodes of the new season came out. I love Reacher. And I had actually never watched the Reacher movies. And then on the last plane ride I took back in like September, I downloaded the first one, and I couldn't even get through it. Tom Cruise's Reacher or the current Kaya's Reacher? I mean, a huge difference, physically and performance-wise. Reacher, the TV series, and the Jack Ryan TV series. Phenomenal. I wish Daniel Craig would come back and do one more. He ain't doing one more. Before he did the last one, he said he'd rather stab his eyes with glass, literally, he said this on a red carpet. I'd rather stab my eyes with shards of glass than play James Bond again. He is so over that. You'll never get him to do that again. I hope we drafted Lane. Are we drafting it, or is Becton the replacement? I think that's an interesting question. PFF sounds like the same thing they used for Joker's first 2 MVPs. Probably. I'm worried about Jurgens. He's a little undersized, and he has to bulk up the play. That's not good for back. And again, we could probably do a whole show on Philadelphia athletes alone that have had back issues prematurely end or slow down their career. So it bothers me. Reacher is great, especially since Tom Cruise. Yeah, exactly. Like Tom Cruise was just so bad. And maybe I thought the movies were bad because I'd already watched the first 2 seasons of the TV show. But everything I've read is I'm not off base by saying he was awful as Reacher. Horrible year for offensive tackles. Okay. 24 is they've been saying that for years now. But we do got to get Jack Bauer out of that Russian prison eventually. We can't let them keep rotting over there. They will get a James Bond universe, so other double O's and more in the agency. And that is what I don't want or don't need. And that's a problem for me. I don't need a double O universe, okay? It's universally, no, it's a matter of opinion. And I think it's number 2. I say Casino Royale 1, Goldfinger 2, Skyfall 3, and Live and Let Die 4. They're my top 4. And then we debate about the 5th one. We could go in a lot of different directions with the 5th one. Is always for the medical knowledge. And so is Big Al. Yeah, I don't know who that is. You're just trying to get me to say a name. The Reacher movies are okay. The Amazon TV series is more like the books. I have been told that. Never read the books. I'd love to see Alan Rickman be Batman in the new DCU. He's such a badass. We're just pivoting right to Batman. We're talking over here. They're out of left field. Here comes the beer can that hits Howie Roseman. Hold on. As they say, Adam Schefter was on a podcast complaining about Eagles fans pelting Howie Roseman with a beer can. So we're here talking about one thing. Here's Deebs pelting me with a beer can out of nowhere, trying to bring up Batman. I take it back. I'm a huge fan of him. Okay, gotcha. Not going to say the name. Okay, I can't say that word. You were pre-med, so you were actually smart at one point. Pinched nerve in the spine. It's what I do for a living. Apple TV is goated. Okay, I would never pay for it. Yes, Neat 24. I just can't let Jack Bauer continue to rot in that prison. I can't. Somebody got to get him out. Somebody. Tell me Chloe O'Brien hasn't gotten her out yet? There you go. See, I know my Jack Bauer stuff. I can get you a doc for an interview if you want. Yeah, you could. I mean, we need it. We need the doc interviews lined up, or I need the number or the DM link so that I can call him when there's an injury. That's what I need. I need it when the injury happens. I need the instant reaction. I started watching again. The first season of 24 and the ending of the first season was freaking amazing. And it just by season 4 or 5, it just became a little too extreme for me. I still watched the entire thing, but there's some interesting similarities between Batman and Reacher. I don't know. Interesting, but not direct similar. I don't know. Reacher is on steroids, and his body is a deadly weapon. Dude is a big boy. 24 first season was fire. Yeah, and the first season and how the first season ended, I don't want to put spoilers out there. It was revolutionary television at the time. Could be worse. Disney could have acquired 007 properties. Yeah, that would have been a problem, for sure. I like Spectre and Skyfall. I think Daniel Craig, in my opinion, might be the best James Bond of all time. His whole encyclopedia of movies, Casino Royale, Spectre, Skyfall. Yeah, Quantum of Solace was pretty dreadful. But actually, it wasn't dreadful. It was a dreadful Bond movie, but a really good action movie, if that makes sense. Yeah, the new Batman doesn't do it for me. Don't speak that into existence, Eric. What was Eric's? Disney acquired. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, everybody's against that. Allie just has to learn how to catch before next year. What's Howie got to catch? Disney has completely ruined Star Wars. It's terrible. See, I was never a huge Star Wars fan. Reacher reminds me of my Army days. I was jacked in a real badass. Yeah. Could you play Reacher in the alternate universe? All right, we'll work on that. Pretty sure we all on board with that one. Yeah, exactly. Oh, where are we at here? So many comments to catch up on. I was also pre-med. Grades weren't good enough to get in anywhere and didn't want to go to the Caribbean, which was big when I was coming up. But you get your doctorate in the Caribbean. I hope now I got to check, make sure every doctor I visit doesn't have their doctor from the Caribbean. The series are great. Acolyte, I've never watched one of the series. Honestly, I don't even think I've seen. I don't even know which one's which. The first one with the girl Jedi. I don't even know which one that is or what her name is. That's probably the last Star Wars thing I've watched. The original 3, I still watch when they're on reruns. When Return of the Jedi is on, boom, got it. But outside of that, I don't know. Who was worse, Daryl Morey of the Sixers or Kathleen Kennedy of Star Wars? I don't know, but I'm going to say Daryl Morey just because Daryl Morey sucks. Turns every IP into trash. Yes, absolutely agree. Stop trolling, yeah. I don't know. Not trolling at all. Hey, some people really like that Star Wars stuff. Season 8 of 24 was bonkers. The corrupt never-do-wells of the world pushed Jack Bauer too far, and he went super. Yeah, look. Is Dave Filoni? I trust. I just. Yeah, look. I don't want to get this into a Star Wars conversation because I don't. I can't get into. I don't know enough to get into a Star Wars conversation. I didn't like when Jack Bauer was turned into a junkie. That was season 2 or 3. That was when he had to infiltrate the Mexican cartel with Nina, who was actually also working for the. Well, shit. I just gave a spoiler alert there. Try getting 10s on your MCATs and telling your family you don't want to be a doc anymore. Is that good? I don't know. I actually went back and read a bunch of Star Wars books because I love the Acolyte so much. Wow. Yeah, look, no, pass. Where did we go wrong? Where did we go wrong today? I don't know where we went wrong. Albertson, greatest role was Blue Mountain State. Never watched Blue Mountain State. The original 3 Star Wars trilogies was actually part 4. I know it was part 4, 5, and 6. I know that. I know Jar Jar Binks was part 1. What is the most difficult part of medical school? Is it having to memorize all the body parts? Trending in the galaxy far, far away. That is what this random show about Nick Sirianni getting respect has turned into some completely off-the-wall episode. We've discussed Bobby Abreu. We've discussed Star Wars, 24, James Bond. We're getting medical information here. We're learning how hard it is to pass the MCATs. Literally, trending in the AM has become trending in the whatever. But you know what? As long as everybody hits that like button, as long as everybody hits that subscribe button, as long as everybody shares this out on their YouTube page or their social medias, I don't care. Trending in the whatever is a thing. Yeah. Only okay. Star Wars at 20 years. Yeah. Look, I don't even know which one's which. I don't know any of this. I blame it all on the World Economic Forum. I don't know. We're caught up on comments. Can we get off of Star Wars for like the next 5 minutes? Because I cannot discuss Star Wars because I have zero Star Wars knowledge. I'm just going to bring up the topic and let you all talk amongst yourselves. Yeah, people have told me that for sure. It just hasn't happened yet. There are more pressing things to watch, like the first 3 episodes of Jack Reacher tonight, maybe. Well, Phil will eat Z-Bugs. What? Hey, it's Friday and football is over. Spring training is in its infancy. The Sixers are trash, and Canada is light. In light of their big win, is now dubbing us the 11th province. We need to jump around. Hey, that's good. That's good. I totally forgot about this whole hockey thing. I saw everybody hyping up last night's game. It looks like the NHL might have struck gold with their 4 Nations tournament instead of All-Star Weekend. But I kind of feel like the 4 Nations tournament only works for hockey and it wouldn't work in other sports. I don't know. I didn't get into it because I kind of forgot about it and it was too late. Whatever. But it's something to build on for hockey. Phil will own nothing and be happy. I don't own anything. The bank owns everything. Last night my wife said she would rather be... Well, that sucks. That's how bad it's come. That's how bad it has gotten, guys. Wow. You ever seen Night Agent? We just finished up season 2 of Night Agent on Saturday night. So, yes. Season 2 of Night Agent was more like Jack Bauer in 24. Season 1 of Night Agent was better than season 2. I like the actor that plays the lead role. I think he does the role pretty well. First season, way better than second season. Second season was still very good. After Jack Reacher, we also got to watch season 2 of The Recruit. That was another show we watched a lot of last year. Phil, did you bring up the idea Eagles hire Frank? I did on the Eagles Checkdown, my 10-minute or less Eagles podcast I do on the Eagles Pin Pull Podcast Network. every morning. Frank Reich, now that they've got an inexperienced offensive coordinator, now that they got an inexperienced offensive pass game specialist in Parks Frazier, now you need to go out, Eric, and get Frank Reich, Mike McCoy, somebody like that to be your quarterback coach, if they're willing to take that demotion. Although if you want to keep the Italian tree going, my man Anthony DeBona suggested Rob Calabrese, and being a Calabrese myself, I kind of like that idea. But yeah, Frank Reich as quarterback coach, if he would take it, would be a great, great option. The great reset awaits us. It's too late. We're already into the final 15, 20 minutes. There's no need for a reset now. A friend just turned down courtsides for tonight's game that comes with food and drink. Doc, I probably would too. I probably would turn it down too. Honestly, even if you're getting free tickets and food and drink, you're still spending gas, parking, and money. Well, if you're getting all that, you're probably getting parking for free too. My time's valuable. Nations could work for baseball, U.S., Japan, Puerto Rico, Dominican Republic. That would make it pretty. Yeah, baseball, it could work. I think you do U.S. versus you could probably take Japan and Korea and kind of put them all together. You could probably do you could probably do like a Caribbean team, a United States team, an Asian team, and I don't know if you could do a Canadian team or not. No, the Canadians had to use Vance Worley in the Olympics last year. That's how bad their team was. I'm watching season 1. Season 1 of The Night Agent's phenomenal. Season 2 is good, not phenomenal. 16 likes is criminally low. Absolutely. I mean, we've had north of 20 concurrent viewers multiple times throughout the show, and we're probably still stuck at 432 subscribers. We've hit a snail's pace on the subscriber count, K1. A real snail's pace here. Should be well north of that right now. We've done it all. We've covered literally everything but the nation's gross debt, national debt. Really makes you wonder why Frank Reich was not taking his OC. Wonder if he turned it down or is just too old for this shit. I think it's a combination of both. I think people are worried that the game has passed him by, that he's not modern enough for the modern game. And I think him as a quarterback coach next to an inexperienced offensive coordinator is a fantastic spot for him because he can revamp his image if, because I don't think he will, but if, Kevin Patullo, I got it right, fails as a play caller, you got Reich there to help or get him over the hump or take it over. Or when Kevin Patullo becomes a head coach the following year, Frank Reich could just slide on up in a promotion. I think it's interesting. Man, damn it, not one new subscriber today. What is going on out there? Covered dog? No, we're not covering it. Although I do want that check. NFL free agency starts in 2 weeks. We have one more week to celebrate the Super Bowl. That's right. My Super Bowl shirt was dirty, so I pulled out Super Bowl 52 Super Bowl shirt today to rock. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, man. What else? Talk amongst yourselves. I don't want to get verklempt or anything anymore. Just talk amongst yourselves. Reich probably didn't interview for the position knowing he wanted to promote Patullo. Yes, probably. No. I bet you they talk to Reich and be like, hey, we're going to promote Patullo, probably. But let's talk, and maybe you'd like to be on the staff with him. So they probably interviewed him in a way like, you're interviewing for 2 jobs. You're interviewing for the OC job, but also the quarterback job at the same time. Frank Reich, Mike McCoy, you can go Kerry Joseph, Alec Van Pelt. You got Luke Getsy. There's some names that are out there that could be the quarterback coach. I like the idea of bringing in the experienced guy like Reich to be the quarterback coach. I think it's a smart move, and I'd hope that we get that announcement this weekend. The combine's next week, right? Let's get our coaching staff in order before the combine. Let's get everything set up and then go from there. That's what would be ideal, right? Be ideal to me. Whatever. All right, so we're coming up to the final 10, 12 minutes of the show today. It is Friday. It's the weekend. It might warm up a touch this weekend. What are the plans of the weekend? There's no basketball to be excited about. Baseball hasn't happened yet. Football's over. What do people do on a weekend like this? Me, I'm working open to close every single day this weekend. So I know what my agenda is going to be. But what do we do? What's going to bring the excitement into our lives this weekend? What's up, Travis? How you doing? First-time play caller, Patullo, by the way. I know that, and I don't like that. I like Brian Johnson. Hurts 26-year. Look, see, here's the thing. There's a big difference, Travis, between Kevin Patullo and Brian Johnson. Kevin Patullo's been in the NFL since 2007 as a coach. Brian, so he's got 15, 16, 17 years experience in the NFL. Brian Johnson had been in the NFL for 2 years. That is the difference on why I have more confidence in Patullo than Brian Johnson. And remember, I criticized and critiqued on this show when I was on a different network the promotion of Brian Johnson. And notice I'm not critiquing the promotion of Kevin Patullo because I think there's a drastic difference. I said going into the 2023 season, right on the show, coming off a Super Bowl loss, I said Patullo and I said Johnson and Sean Desai were not going to succeed. I said it on my morning show, whatever channel I was on at that moment. I don't even remember what channel I was on at that time. I've been on so many different networks over the years. I don't even know what show I was doing at the summer of the off season of 2023. No clue. Or whatever. I guess that was winter of 24 by that point. I'm going to the Flyers Carnival on Sunday. Oh, that's right. The Flyers wives fight for ALS. Is it? I forget. I watched the Patullo interview. He said he doesn't have a philosophy. He just game plans around what the players do best. That's a good philosophy, right? Game planning around your players, not putting round pegs into square holes. Kind of a smart philosophy, wouldn't you say, mister? I would. I'm going to watch Eagles content until the season starts. There you go. That's what you do. Flyers wives fight for lives. That's how you say it. That's right. Never been to one of those, but I hear they're fun. And they raise a lot of great money for charity. Here's the other thing with Nick Sirianni. Last year's collapse is another huge reason sticking in people's craws. Goes to a Super Bowl, loses, has a collapse, then rebounds from that collapse and wins a Super Bowl. And it wasn't a real collapse. They still made the playoffs. It wasn't an Andy Reid collapse. It still made the playoffs. So he was able to rebound. He was able to learn from his mistakes. He was able to pivot. I think the way he rebounded from the collapse gives Nick Sirianni even more credit in my book, or, validation in my book. Not going to be popular with this crowd, but Union season opener Saturday. That's good. I forgot. I know you said that before on Twitter. Totally forgot. Again, will it be on TV? Will I be able to watch it, Steven Fuentes? Sounds like something Sirianni would say. Well, me and Sirianni are the same way. Nick Sirianni probably convinced Lori how much self-scouting he was doing. Look, whatever he did, I'm glad they didn't move on. Shouldn't you all be glad that they didn't move on from a lot of people wanted Nick Sirianni gone. A lot. Even in week 4 or 5, a lot of people wanted Nick Sirianni gone. I know we did many shows off season last year about keeping Nick Sirianni, and you all telling me he needs to go. He did a good job of selling himself, and it was the right decision. The 3 Italian, Nick, Pat, and Fangio. And there's a little bit of a debate whether Patullo is Scottish or Italian too. Sounds very Italian. He looks Italian, but they say he's Scottish. I don't know. But yeah, we got the new family running South Philly. I just don't know if they're in the racketeering business or what, or the winning football game business. Let's face it, there are other head coaches that could win with this roster. I disagree, Noobs. I really do disagree. I think Nick Sirianni could win with other rosters around the NFL. And having a great roster should not discount the success a player or a coach has. I strongly disagree with it. Having a great team does not discount that team actually. How many times have the Phillies have had a great team? They keep falling short. The Bills, the Ravens, all these other teams have great teams. They fall short. So I don't want to hear that a stacked team actually following through and winning is discounting the actual championship and the success that that coach and that team has had. I think that's a cop out there. That collapse was depressing. I remember looking at media pundits that hated us, frustration with our failures. Yeah. See, now you're going overboard. You're entering. No. I'm saying that winning validates everything. You can't hold a roster. You can't hold a team. You can't hold the roster against the team's success, the coach's success, the GM's success, the quarter. So it's Nick Sirianni. So you're saying that any quarterback would have won, and I disagree with that. I do. I think that not every coach would have won with this roster. Plain and simple. Big Dom was at the Sixers game last night and don't know why he wanted to watch. Yeah, maybe he was going to the locker room afterwards. Fangio's the best. I love that old fart. Dude, yeah, his pressers are great. Vic Fangio's a Philly guy. Desai, Patricia, and Juan Castillo certainly did dividends. They were not very good. The three Italians won the Italian Lombardi Trophy in the Super Bowl. Roman numeral, yeah. And we've seen a pattern here. Us Italians, we know football and meatballs. We know a little bit about a few things, and that's about it. We know our football. We know our meatballs. We know our sauce. We know a few things. We know about big noses, and that's about it. I didn't say every head coach wins a stressor. I'm saying there are others. There are a few, maybe. But what you're doing is, I believe, and this is my feeling on your statement, is you're discounting what Nick Sirianni did this year. The way he was able to hold this team, I think you're discounting it. No offense, and I'm not saying this in a mean way. You're the reason that WIP had a show earlier this week talking about what else needs to be done for you to be sold on Nick Sirianni. Nothing needs to be done. You should be sold on him. I saw your murder board on Reddit last night. It was on Reddit? It was on Reddit. Dude, that thing has been stolen by so many people, and I'm getting no credit for it whatsoever anywhere, and it's driving me nuts. That's what I've had posts on Twitter go more viral than that. We're pushing 450,000 views now on Twitter on it. I've had more views on things before, but I've never had a post stolen as much as that post and picture I made. So please, yeah, tell all those suckers that go into those threads on Reddit and be like, yo, if you're going to steal my man's thing, at least promote his YouTube page. Please, Duck. I've been banned from Reddit. Bill Walsh sucks. Guy only won when he had super teams. See how exactly. Who was worse, Gannon Desai or Brian Johnson? Oh, man, it's between Brian Johnson and Desai. I'd probably go Brian Johnson. Yeah, we know pizza too, us Italians. But pizza could be a Greek thing too. I don't think the first pizza was made in Italy. I want to say it was made in Greece, actually. The Harry and the Hendersons guy was in Conclave. Okay, I don't even remember Harry. I know the name Harry and Hendersons. I don't remember it, though. Didn't have a big, Bigfoot guy thing in it. I've seen Barry Switzer and see a number of similarities. There are differences, but there are many similarities. I don't know about that. I disagree. I disagree. You're saying because Barry Switzer inherited a great team, and that's why he won his Super Bowl. Nick Sirianni didn't inherit a great team. He helped build a great team. Because I just spammed too much, and I created multiple accounts, and all those accounts got banned, so I just stopped creating accounts. Patricia was the worst. Yeah, Patricia might be. All right, guys, we're coming to the end of this. Noobs, I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm trying to discuss with you. I hope you understand what we're doing here. I just strongly disagree with your thought process there. And I think that's the problem. First pizza was made in. Are you sure about that? I don't know. Patricia is still the worst. Yeah, absolutely. Which player and coach on the Eagles that without their contributions, the Super Bowl victory would be impossible? I mean, without Chip Kelly or without Nick Sirianni, without Jalen Hurts, this team would not have been successful. Plain and simple. Or Chip Kelly ain't that bad. So there's a thread going around the worst coach in Eagles history, and I keep saying it's Rich Kotite, but a lot of the Ute want to say Chip Kelly. Yeah, I'm sure I Googled. Okay, I really thought that the first one was made in Greece, but whatever. It's all good. Not going to get technical on the pizza history there. I've eaten pizza in both Greece and Italy, and they both have their pros and cons for sure. All right, guys. I do not have blind loyalty. I don't. I call it as the exact reason why I don't have blind loyalty is exactly my opinion on the Phillies, how they're not going to win a World Series because Rob Thomson. So I've been more than willing to criticize when necessary. I have. Plain and simple. But I think the last 4 years has given Nick Sirianni the right to have earned, or he has earned the right to be given the benefit of the doubt, the confidence. Okay? There ain't no blind loyalty. It's been earned. To me, the Nick Sirianni loyalty has been earned. There's no coach in Eagles history that has accomplished over the last 4 years what Nick Sirianni's done. There was no Italy when pizza was invented. Pizza is actually a conglomeration from all through Roman Empire. I think I remember reading that before, yes. Great show. Thank you very much, Adam. I hope you have a good one. Come watch the Phillies game, everybody. Sunday at Fox's Pizza. I'll be there all day. It's the wife's birthday on Sunday. Happy birthday to the greatest wife in the world. She turns X. I'm not going to say what on Sunday, but yeah, we'll be watching the Phillies game and celebrating her birthday at the pizza shop on Sunday. Pizza with tomatoes is a very modern creation. Yes, absolutely. Are you a topper hater? I'm a topper hater. No, I just hold them accountable. Phils are old. Doesn't matter who the manager is. Yeah. This is another. Every show is a great show, and the fact that more people don't find it, I don't know what I gotta do. I gotta say dumb shit to get found. The side was good. He actually had us win against good teams. They wouldn't let Brian Johnson touch a clipboard for us to know how bad he was. Yeah. Need Painter and Crawford. You know what's funny? Everybody's all hyped about Aiden Miller, and I see why. But for some reason, Nooms, and this is a topic for another show because got to wrap it up here. I am so much more hyped for Justin Crawford than I am Aiden Miller. I just see superstar center fielder of our future in Justin Crawford. I really do. But anyway, guys, we got to wrap this shebang up. Please like, subscribe, share. This week and go out. Find me 5 people to subscribe, guys. Let's get those numbers up, guys. Let's continue having great shows week in and week out. This might have been the best show of the week today. It might have been. And we've had some very interesting topics and conversations this week. So I might say that this might have been the best show of the week, guys. But everybody have a great weekend. Be well. See you on Monday, 8 a.m. right here. Go Birds. Thank you very much for a great week, guys. Bubbles up.
Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep. Pop, 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 julep.